pathway which will terminate in the primary olfactory cortex. That I have. And the anterior part of the parahippocampal gyrus, it is also known as area number 28 or the entorhinal area. You are this nomenclature, it is asked in the objective or the viva. Entorhinal area, it is the anterior most part of the parahippocampal gyrus, that is the uncus, which is known as which is involved in the primary olfactory cortex. Then what is the difference between the primary and the secondary olfactory cortex? The primary olfactory cortex, what does it do? It will receive the conscious appreciation of the sense of smell. And the secondary olfactory cortex, what it will do? It will do what? It will discriminate the odor, identify the odor, and it will discriminate accordingly. Okay. So this is the function of the primary olfactory cortex and the secondary olfactory cortex. So the peculiarity of the olfactory pathway is what? It is the only sensation, a very important point that I am saying, it is the only sensation which bypasses the thalamus, isn't it? The olfactory pathway is the only sensation which bypasses the thalamus. But the thalamus, it is involved at one point. When the information from the primary cortex, it is sent to the secondary cortex, the information is went via the thalamus. But when it reaches the primary awareness of the sense of the smell, it is directly reaching the primary olfactory area cortex bypassing the thalamus. Okay, so this was all about the different areas, the Brodmann's areas and its functional correlation. I have tried my best to explain you all the important points of that, language formation, Brodmann's area. So now one most important point that you must know, there is an important nomenclature now, that is the cerebral lateralization. What do you mean by cerebral lateralization? Cerebral lateralization means, that means suppose this is the right cerebral hemisphere and this is the left cerebral hemisphere. Both works with its partner. Right controls the left, left controls the right. But there at one point there is a dominancy of one hemisphere for that function. Suppose anatomically and functionally there are differences. Many times when I am showing you this, you will say that madam, all the structures are similar on both the hemisphere, but there are some differences anatomically. And what are those differences? Those differences are seen in vernix area or the upper surface. There are temporal planal, that is the part which is the vernix area. It is more in the left cerebral hemisphere, 50% more in the left cerebral hemisphere. One difference. Other difference in females, what you will see, the temporal lobe. Look here, this temporal lobe, it is longer. In females, the left side, the temporal lobe, it is longer than the right side. Okay, and in the left-handed person, what it will be seen? It will seen that the left-sided, the parietal, the frontal are widely apart. So this was the anatomical difference. There are functionally difference also. In spite of its coordinated, the motor, the sensory and the integrative functions, both the hemispheres do together just like a husband and wife, but still there are differences. In which sense? Dominancy of for some function. In any partner, husband, you will see that there is a specification of a husband or a wife for that particular thing. So there is dominancy. So that dominancy, that difference is also seen in the brain also, in between the cerebral hemisphere also. For the example, in the left cerebral hemisphere, why it is important? Just now we have discussed this cerebral hemisphere, the left cerebral hemisphere, it is mainly for the area of the speech, the language, the reasoning, analytical skills. We can do the mathematical calculation on the basis of this dominancy and the scientific skills. All these functions are mainly predominated by the left cerebral hemisphere. On the contrast, what does the right cerebral hemisphere do? Right cerebral hemisphere, it will analyze all the sensory information more properly than the left. Okay, then what else? Additional peculiarity of that? It is the site of imagination, and insight, plus it will be able to feel the objects with the texture. That means stereoglossus, that is the superior parietal lobule cuneus, the function of the sensory association area, it is more on the right cerebral hemisphere. Okay, then have you discussed the singer or the artist, or the other side there is a scientist? You compare the cerebral hemisphere of both the brains of a scientist also and the musician, the artist. What will be the difference? There in the scientist there is a predominancy of the left cerebral hemisphere, but in the singers, artistic, okay, there is a dominancy of the right cerebral hemisphere. And the right cerebral hemisphere, it also gives the three-dimensional images, spatial perception, okay, pattern perception given by the right cerebral hemisphere. So these were the functional differences between the right and the left cerebral hemisphere, and the basis of these differences, there has been a new concept which is known as the cerebral lateralization. That means the dominancy for this one, I am going to take the charge more than you, and for some this type of function, the right cerebral hemisphere will say that I will be more dominant for this function. So this is the cerebral lateralization. Okay, now we will, now the class is over now. In the next class, we will discuss the other important topics. I will discuss with you all what topic I should start with, the gross aspect of the head and neck. Okay, so go and read properly today all the surfaces, the brain, whatever I have taught about the cranial cavity. Go and read once, and you will be able to correlate all the structures, function, blood supply, and all these things. Thank you.